Hi everybody, my name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about narcissistic love bombing. So narcissists use love bombing at the start of a relationship in order to suck you in order to gain control of you. Love bombing is a form of an emotional abuse. It is a way for them to make you dependent on them early on so that they have you in their grasp before you can actually see their true colours. So love bombing can come in forms of say showering you with gifts and adoration very early on, kind of to the extent that it's overboard. Really expensive gifts early on, telling you that they love you very early on, and showering you with affection and excessive communication very early on in the relationship. Saying things like, oh, you're my destiny and I've never felt like this before, or, oh, we're so good together, and paying for holidays, big extravagant things. Planning ahead very early, trying to ask for commitment early on. Putting pressure on you very early on in the relationship. This can make you do things, makes you feel guilty in a sense because they're after paying for so much stuff for you and sharing you with so much affection. You kind of feel indebted to them in a sense. So you end up, becoming codependent on them. And that's the thing with love bombing. It can come in, some people do have love at first sight, and some relationships are healthy where there is excessive love. That's fine. But you can see the red flags when it comes to love bombing. And I'm going to read a few red flags before I continue. So the red flags of love bombing: they buy over-the-top gifts for you and they spend excessively on you. So if very early on in a relationship, somebody is buying you really extravagant gifts very, very early, this can be a form of love bombing, a way of sucking you in, a way of, gaining control and making you dependent on them. They can bombard you with compliments. They communicate with you relentlessly, and they need, they want to be communicating with you all the time, like bordering on crazy. They don't give you enough space. They want to try and trap you early on, you see. They want to try and suck you in early on, and make you commit to doing things with them all the time, so as you don't spend time with your friends or spend time alone or have any space. This is to try and entrap you and gain control over you, so that you can't be influenced by anyone else or ask anyone for advice on the relationship. They're just trying to suck you into their world by putting on this mask, this persona. They push for commitment early in the relationship. They make references like soulmate or declarations about fate and destiny. And the relationship feels unnervingly intense. They dislike it when you set boundaries and you feel uneasy about their level of affection and communication. So you're gonna know early on, because when somebody is too intense early on, it is going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel icky. It really is, but sometimes they can get you. They can plant these seeds, and because we're vulnerable and because maybe we want that kind of affection, we don't see those red flags early on. So be very mindful of this, and the thing with love bombing, it can come in a cycle. So it will be very, very intense at the early stages of the relationship. So you will have all this excessive adoration and these excessive presents and all that. And then it can go, once they think they have you under their grasp, this might only last days, weeks, months. It depends on how, I suppose, codependent you are and how easily they can entrap you. Because as soon as they have you under their control with this manipulation, with this emotional abuse, then they are going to flip the switch. Once they have you all to themselves, under their control, their mask will fall off and they will show you their true colours. They will show you their nasty side, and they will go from love bombing to degrading you, to devaluing you, to insulting you. And I'll give you an example of this. I watch Married at First Sight, and I watch it to study the relationships. I love a love story as well, so I do watch it to see if they fall in love. But I watch it to study these people, and every series there is a narcissist, whether it's the English one or the Australian one. There is a narcissist every series, and we have one in this series. And like, it's gas what he's doing. Like, you know, the red flags are massive. He will bombard her with these special gifts, these really sentimental, romantic gifts, and then he will come back and be horrible and degrading. It's like, why were we even matched? Why did this? He actually wrote a list of all her what he sees as her flaws. You know, saying, oh, you wear too much makeup. You're too sensitive, this, that, the other. And then he came back with another really romantic gift straight after that. So this is like, whenever she sees the red flags, she says, I'm, you know, this needs to change. She even said it on the couch last week. She was like, he's very manipulative, he's gaining control. And then all of a sudden, like, well, first of all, he disappeared. Then he came back with all this love and affection and wrote her a song. Then he wrote her a list of all these flaws that he didn't like about her. And then he went away again and sent her a load of romantic gifts. This is the cycle of love bombing. They're going to keep sucking you back in. They're going to keep trying to gain control of you with this love, this affection, these lies, these lies and these romantic gifts. And then when you're back in and feeling like, oh, maybe he was just in a bad mood when he said all those nasty things. And then you start to fall for his lies again. He sucks you back in, and then bang, he will start to devalue, degrade, and insult you once again. Now, this can go on both sides. Women can do this to men as well. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what gender you are. This can happen if you've got narcissistic tendencies. And like, that's, it's ridiculous. Like, you know, and like years ago, maybe I would have fell for something like that. Well, I did, because I was in 2 narcissistic relationships, but they weren't, they didn't love bomb me. They caught me in different ways because I was vulnerable. But like, you know, I can see red flags straight away now. And like, I'm not even interested in dating anymore. But like, come on. This kind of stuff, you don't fall for this stuff when you do your healing. You don't. And you can see it right there. What is, like, come on. You meet someone once and then they're like, oh, come and fly over here. No, come on, I'm not stupid. And so, you know, you have to watch for these red flags. You can see this. I can see a narcissist now a mile away. And I'm like, come on, really? Like, you know, we need to be aware of the red flags. We need to understand our own inner core wounds and our own codependency. If we're attracted to narcissists, this is going to happen. So be mindful when you are dating or you're attracted in men or women. Be mindful of these. You know, if somebody is throwing all this at you, you know, at the start, this could be love bombing. These expensive, extravagant gifts, these excessive compliments, this soulmate stuff. Oh my God. Like, you know, I believe in soulmates and all that. And I believe in love at first sight. And I believe in affection and care. But when it is unhealthily excessive, do you know, when it's like, you know, excessive. When they're trying to get you to spend every waking minute of the day with them. Trying to force you out of being with your friends. Trying to force you out of even having space for yourself. Trying to get you to commit to them early on. Bombarding you with love, affection, gifts. This kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, once they have you sucked in, this mask, this persona will drop. And they will start to insult and degrade you. And you will notice it. You'll notice it. You're like, what happened? Like, you know, they were so nice and now they're so insulting, they're so mean. But because you saw that nice side to them, you'll always kind of keep going, maybe they were just in a bad mood. And then you kind of, because they'd sucked you in and gained control and emotionally abused you and manipulated you so early on, this kind of plants this seed in your mind, or this, it traps you. Because you feel guilty then. Because they're like, oh, they bought me such nice gifts. Oh my God, that bag he got me was so expensive. Do you know, things like that. And you're like, oh, you know, he's a good person because he bought me that. Because we lose sight of reality, really. We lose sight of what's important. Because they spend so much money on us, we think they're, you know, we think that's value. That's what brings value to the relationship. So we don't mind the insults, or we put up with the insults because we're like, oh no, he must care about me if he spends that much money on me. He must care about me if he wants to spend this time with me. The only reason they want to spend so much time with you is so that you can't spend time with other people, so that you can't get opinions from other people about the relationship and how you're feeling. And like, if you feel this intense this uneasiness within the relationship, this is your soul trying to tell you this isn't right. And all of this love bombing is going to stop, and it's going to change into manipulation, abuse, and devaluing and insults. And if you start to pull away and see through this, then they will love bomb again, and they will suck you back in with all these words and all these lies and all these presents and these sentimental gifts. You know, so be very, very mindful of that. You know, if there is this cycle of abuse and then love, this is love bombing. You know, this is emotional abuse. Both of it is emotional abuse. The love bombing is emotional abuse. It's manipulation to try and suck you in and keep you dependent on them. So be very, very mindful of that. You know, and I'm all for romantic relationships and affection and all that, but you can see the difference. The difference is, with the love bombing, it's excessive. It's excessive to the point where it's obsessive. Like, do you know what I mean? It is unhealthy the way they try to control you with gifts and these words, and then they turn around and they will devalue, insult you, and describe what they don't like about you. So just be mindful of this. Be mindful of the red flags. Watch out for this, especially very early on in the relationship, because this is how they'll suck you in from the beginning, and then it will all go to shit, and it will start to do this cycle of abuse and toxicity. So be mindful of that. And as I said, if you're in the relationship and then they go from good to toxic and you see the red flags, they will try and suck you back in if you set boundaries of any kind. They will love bomb you again. They will guilt trip you. They will make you feel like they need you. That, you know, they can't live without you, this kind of stuff, like the desperation kind of energy, where they will kind of like, oh, you know, you're the only one for me and we belong together and all this kind of stuff. But straight away, they will insult you again. So just be very, very careful of the red flags. Keep your eyes open. Be wary of this. You know, if it is excessive, highly expensive gifts, if they're taking you away on holiday after knowing them a couple of days or a couple of weeks, this is crazy. So be careful. Don't let them isolate you. Don't let them suck you in. Watch the red flags and be very, very mindful. So thank you for listening today, and I hope this resonates. If it does, please like, subscribe and share. And if you want help in your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Bye-bye.